محمد رسول الله. الحمد لله، الحمد لله رب العالمين، الحمد لله والشكر لله. يا أبو فادي يا أبو فادي، بلدي هاي ياسوف زراعية، بكينا نفلح وبكينا نحرث ونضرس ونساوي. كل 3 شهور تطلع لنا 750 شيكل، هاي اللي بناخذ منهم 3 شهور وحتى صار اكثر من 4 شهور.
Several years ago, 71-year-old Abdelmati Yassin's livestock was killed and his farmland destroyed by Israeli settlers, leaving him with no source of income. Today he travels to the West Bank city of Salfit to receive European charity. 80,000 Palestinians receive this type of European aid each year.
From 1993 to 2004, the Palestinian people received about $9 billion in foreign aid.
تقدري تاخدي لترميم البيت مساعدة طارئة، قولي لهم بدي مساعدة طارئة تيجوا تزوروا بيتي. بعمر الحمام. طب اكتب لي اسمك، اكتب لي اسمك.
In the next few years, that aid will have reached close to $15 billion.
Certainly, with all of this funding, we have not seen any changes in the poverty levels because of the fact that this funding did not generate employment opportunities.
The main problem is that this aid is here with a very clear political agenda, which is to support the Oslo peace process. Assumed a period of that the conflict was over.
The negotiations have been stalled for 17 years.
احنا معتمدين مش بشكل سنوي على المانحين، احنا معتمدين بشكل يومي، حولونا لمعتمدين بشكل مطلق على اموال المساعدات الخارجيه.
هذا الدعم مش موجه انه ينهي الاحتلال.
عبد المعطي خليل ابراهيم ياسين.
نعم.
تفضل يا حاج. مع السلامة.
يا ظهري يما يا عم.
Even though donor funding was intended to help Palestinians, it hasn't necessarily achieved that goal. And most of the aid which was funneled into the occupied territories, it has not resulted in helping Palestinians with steady economic development.
Historically, over half of Palestinian society worked in agriculture. Palestinians were self-sufficient. They exported fruits and vegetables throughout the Arab world in the 1970s and 80s.
قبل أوسلو كان في استغلال للأرض، يعني كان في زراعة. بداية الانتفاضة كان في محاولات للتحكم في الاقتصاد المحلي الفلسطيني على أساس الإنتاجية الصغيرة، المستوى الصغير من الإنتاجية والاعتماد الذاتي.
But Palestinian actions during the Oslo period proved devastating to Palestinian farming.
دعم لا يذكر اللي كان يجي لقطاع الزراعة، لأنه كان في تناقض بين الدعم لقطاع الزراعة وبين أوسلو. يعني السلطة لا تتحكم في الأرض ولا تتحكم في المياه. إسرائيل تتحكم في الأرض وإسرائيل تتحكم في المياه. المجتمع ما اندعمش لا حتى يصير مكتفي ذاتيا، ما اندعمش حتى يصير عنده سيادة غذائية. ليش ما اندعمش؟ حتى يصير عنده أمن غذائي.
The economic planners during the Oslo period favored costly new industrial zones over agricultural development. This has proved problematic.
معروف مرج بن عامر اللي هو السلة الغذائية للفلسطينيين، للعائلات الفلسطينية، اللي من ناحية التشغيل ومن ناحية المزروعات وتوفيرها للسوق الفلسطيني. لما فكروا يعملوا منطقة صناعية، الإسرائيليين أصروا إنه يعملوها بمرج بن عامر بالأراضي الزراعية الموجودة حاليا. أجا بنك التنمية الألماني وقال أنا بدي أعطي قرض، مش منحة، قرض للفلسطينيين بقيمة 14 مليون يورو اللي يعملوا البنية التحتية للمنطقة الصناعية. وإسرائيل كانت بتعملوا المنطقة الصناعية هين ممنوع تستخدموا المياه الجوفية، بمعنى أنه إسرائيل أصرت بالاتفاقية أنه تكون هو المزود للمياه في المنطقة الصناعية وكمان للطاقة.
By controlling the water and electricity and access roads to the industrial complex at Al Jalameh, Israel exerts full control over the Palestinian project.
من 16 سنة المشروع بنحكى عنه، لليوم ما صار إشي، ما صار منطقة صناعية.
But something did happen. Agricultural land was destroyed at Al Jalameh to build one long gravel road. It sits unused, a road leading to nowhere.
والمانحين اللي هم كانوا موجودين بنك التنمية الألماني كان بدرك تماما انه فيش مجال لمنطقة صناعية او لاقتصاد فلسطيني طول ما إسرائيل هي المتحكمة في كل نقاط العبور بفلسطين.
Six years into the peace process, Palestinians began resenting donor interference in their affairs.
I think one of the main areas which donor agendas are imposed on local societies is through the ideological underpinnings of aid. When you talk about women's organizations focusing their energy solely on legislation or on teaching women to lobby their elected representatives as a mechanism for empowering women, you're assuming a functioning liberal democracy. And clearly in Palestine we're not. This is not an independent, autonomous state or a functioning liberal democracy. We are a society living under a brutal apartheid system.
المرأة كانت بالانتفاضة الأولى وهي دورها بالأحزاب أنشط سياسياً من ما هي موجودة اليوم.
Workshops in urban centers replaced community work in rural areas.
The lessons of the women's movement, because they're very critical and they're very self-aware of how the movement has been transformed by the NGO process, is that they've been able to promote wonderful legislation, but politically they are much weaker, and they don't actually have the real political power that a social movement needs to transform, to go about pursuing social change. this is not the mechanism of change that we need, actually. For us, for a society which is engaged in a struggle, an anti-colonial struggle, a struggle for freedom, a struggle for liberation, being able to unify social forces is very important. And these professionalized activities actually break that up. They've broken up the grassroots model of organizing that we had in the first Intifada.
كان ربط الحزام في الطائرة عند هبوط الطائرة فقط.
Volunteers have virtually disappeared in Palestine due to large-scale funding of such activities. People who once volunteered in the new NGO world now expect to be paid. While donor aid has diluted the spirit of volunteerism, it has also changed the dynamics of the Palestinian business sector.
The challenges of operating a business are faced by many Palestinian businesses in the private sector. One of those challenges is recruiting Palestinians. It is a product of what's starting to be called the NGOization of developing economies. It's a result of a large amount of foreign aid that is injected to the Palestinian economy that allows non-governmental organizations or NGOs the ability to offer inflated salaries that are far detached from the local economy to recruit educated and professional Palestinians. So NGOs are therefore able to offer a salary that is 3 to 4 times higher than what the local private sector can afford. That increases the cost of labor and reduces the labor supply to the private sector and directly undermines the private sector's ability to recruit Palestinians, hire them, and therefore build a autonomous or an independent Palestinian economy.
If donor aid is encouraging inflated salaries for the educated classes, then why are these educated classes incapable of building an independent economy?
The very fundamentals of economic development and growth and free movement of goods and people was completely stopped by the government of Israel, by the successive governments of Israel. The donor community did not challenge this, but they continued pouring money over it. So they knew that they are investing in a failed project.
The Oslo project had many beneficiaries who worked to keep the project alive.
لأنه احنا إذا بدنا نقول شو عملوا المانحين، عملوا طبقة أو نخب سياسية اقتصادية متشابهة أو متجوزة بعض وقاعدين، هذول النخب هم اللي برسموا قاعدين سياسة البلد.
The NGO process really works hand in hand with the process of promoting an image of prosperity in cities like Ramallah, and and a focus on also fostering a middle-class lifestyle, lifestyle which is focusing on consumption. All of this works to create a symbol of normality, that we're living in normal conditions, that actually everything is fine in the West Bank and Gaza, that the state is in the process, that there's a state on the way that will be independent very soon, and all of this masks the structures of oppression that we live under daily, and that the structures of control that Israel has put in place.
I think donor funding contributed because donors and the countries behind them did not challenge the policy of the State of Israel by economically blockading the West Bank and the Gaza Strip and East Jerusalem. So they knew that they are investing in a failed project which cannot be feasible without the free movement of goods and people.
At least 30% of Palestinians have been designated as poor, with nearly half of these falling into the category of being very poor. How can so many Palestinians remain poor with so much aid being donated?
واحنا ما ننساش انه في جزء كبير كمان مقدر يمكن بين 30 ل 50% من الدعم اللي بيجي من مصادر الدعم الخارجية بيرجع لنفس المصادر، بيرجع للبلاد نفسها من خلال المستشارين في بعض المشاريع. هاي النسبة اللي بترجع لمصدر الدعم تزيد عن 50% من المبلغ المقر اللي بنحط على الكتب. يعني بتسجل انه هذا دعم للشعب الفلسطيني تحت الاحتلال.
Nevertheless, the culture of aid dependency in Palestine is enormous.
Right now, 30% of the Palestinian GDP comes from foreign aid. If Palestinians were to become disobedient, as defined by those foreign donor states, that donor money would cease to exist. It allows the donor states to essentially blackmail the Palestinian people. And I know blackmail is a strong word, but we saw the negative effects of donor aid in 2006 and its political implications. When Palestinians elected their own government in 2006, the donor aid money was turned off because they defined the results of the Palestinian election as hostile to Western interests. So therefore they ended donor aid to the Palestinian Authority. So they're like what they call the golden handcuffs. You know, the donor aid is given to you, but it has conditions that require you to react in a different way. Thus, if the foreign donor state that's giving the money has interests to keep the Israeli occupation in place, or to allow Israel to continue to build settlements, build its wall, and further entrench its occupations, that works contrary to the interests of the Palestinian people.
Critics of the economic policies of the Palestinian Authority say that the consumer society being created will have devastating long-term effects on the Palestinian people.
مدينة زي رام الله حجم الديون اللي على الناس بس من وقت سلام فياض، الحجم الديون للقروض للبنوك وهيك ارتفع ل 3 مليار دولار. يعني التوجه العام لبنك الدولي هين انه قديش احنا قادرين نخلق مصالح فردية ومنفعة فردية لكل واحد. بمعنى في عندك قضية جماعية للفلسطينيين، كيف تفتت هاي القضية الجماعية وتصير كل واحد مشكلته انه انا مديون للبنك. وهذا اللي بصير فعليا.
Palestinian society, observers note, is changing.
I think the development could very well be illustrated in the Gaza Strip by people losing their capacities, their experience and expertise, and their potential. The degenerative effect of the prevailing politics is actually stripping Palestinians of whatever capability and potential they once had many, many years ago.
But being debt-ridden and facing the prospects of de-development are not the only internal problems that the Palestinians face. Approximately 1/3 of the Palestinian public budget is spent on security. Most Palestinians do not see the benefit of having anything other than traffic controllers and regular policemen. So why, they ask, do the donors encourage the Palestinian government to spend 30% of their budget on security?
أنا بفهم الشرطة ضرورية حتى تساهم في النظام العام، هذا أنا بفهمه. ولا أفهم إنه ليش هاي المصاري لازم تنصرف على حرس رئاسي مدجج في السلاح ومدرب على عمليات خاصة. لا أفهم هذا، لأنه هذا ما إلوش علاقة مع أمن الفرد، هذا له علاقة مع أمن النخب السياسية اللي خلقتها أوسلو. هذا بالأساس.
Palestinians remain realistic about the nature of European involvement in the Israel-Palestine conflict.
الحالة الفلسطينية دور المانحين بالأساس هو دور سياسي. أنا بقصد بالدور السياسي قديش أنت قادر تبقى مساند سياسيا لقضية هالقد عادلة وبيختلفوش عليها الناس يعني أخلاقيا في أي قانون وفي كل مواثيق الأمم المتحدة اللي هي بتنص على قرارات محددة بالموضوع الفلسطيني. بالوقت اللي بتعطينا ألمانيا قيصة حين هي بتمنح إسرائيل غواصات نووية بنفس الوقت. فبالتالي فيش هاي الدعم الحقيقي وبتكف ميراكل وبتقول إنه لا الفلسطينية إذا بدهم دولة لازم توافق إسرائيل. يعني كمان حطتينا تحت مظلة إسرائيل كمان مرة. أنا برأيي إنه المانحين فقدوا دورهم الأخلاقي والقيمي في التدخل في القضية الفلسطينية. لعبوا الدور السياسي اللي ممكن يلعبوه لصالح إسرائيل، كيف هم يكونوا عامل إضافي بالضغط على الفلسطينيين مش مساعد للقضية الفلسطينية.
The freedom of movement, freedom of assembly, freedom of religion, freedom of association, those inalienable human rights are impossible to achieve if there is an occupation that exists that prevents them, a military occupation that is sustained or that is allowed to exist based on the fact that a donor economy sustains the Palestinian people. You know, when they talk about economic peace, I consider it almost as the opium to the Palestinian people, because it keeps them sort of drugged while Israel continues to further entrench its occupation. And that's the essential problem with a massive amount of donor aid into the Palestinian territories, because one can argue easily that it helps sustain the Palestinians while Israel further entrenches its occupation. And that has enormous implications because, I mean, as much as people talk about the possible outcomes of the conflict, they talk about the two-state solution or the one-state solution, but the most realistic outcome is permanent occupation.